Hello, my name is Will Wang, a specialist designer at Pelly Clark Pelly Architects. Thank you all for tuning in and the organization for recognizing ideas in the writings from a practice like ours. I believe studies in the industry can contribute to the knowledge in academia just as well, because architecture as a subject matter is often grounded in practical applications, and it is, after all, buildings. I am presenting some findings on the state of virtual reality integration in the design business, particularly its user interface, which I have found to be an opportunity for improvement before it plays an even more significant role in shaping an architect's way of working. Virtual reality technology has indeed been around for a few years. Some of my paper references go back as far as the 1990s. It always had a draw on architects because of the nature of our work. It goes without saying that a large portion of our profession wants to emulate the effects of the built reality before it can be fully constructed. VR seems to promise that ability. However, when we look at the VR tools today, very few integrates fully with the design experience, which is to model and view objects in immersion. When we look at authoring tools in VR, they often explore the mirroring of analog motions. That leads us to a few products that emphasize on freeform modeling, or colloquially referred to as 3D sketching. But in order to obtain the level of realism parallel to constructed architecture, architects design in conventional drafting software where dimensions are precisely represented. After a few trials in freehand VR tools, we found that the initial sketching phase is very brief in the process. Very soon would an architect need to rely on scales and measurements to mock up design intent. VR technology seems to drop off rapidly when it comes to mirror the rigor of architectural 3D modeling as seen in many CAD software. The user interface is not fluent enough to execute the same command sequence common in CAD. The user is discouraged to spend more time, which is already very short in our profession, to learn a novel and difficult interface. Occasionally, there has been studies on the interface of VR tools in the context of architecture. Here are just a couple of examples. Some people want to explore using hand gestures. Some make use of sound or voice commands. Others may look at a combination of multiple input modes. However, we have found that these studies either to be a bit simplified for the applications in real practice, or just short of delivering the level of precision modeling that can actually rival CAD. So we took our task into the closest VR authoring tool to CAD that we could lay our hands on. With the help of a third-party software company, we used their tool that calls directly into a robust 3D modeler API and lets designers model in a familiar software environment, but of course in a virtual immersion. First, we documented our typical workflow and then attempted to reproduce the same schemes in VR. Any roadblocks in the process would inform a UI wireframe. In our case specifically, we attempted to reproduce an object representative of high-rise office buildings, typical in a lot of our practice. The shape generation is a series of common commands such as lofting curves, sweeping along rails, trimming lines, trimming surfaces, etc. This series of operations is actually not too sophisticated for an architect, but as it turned out later, it was very challenging in the VR tool. You are welcome to take a look at the promotional video that the software company has co-produced. It offers a glimpse into the research that we've done. To put the problem simply, there is currently no comprehensive authoring tool that can reproduce the geometric manipulations of 3D modeler software. Even the one that opens directly inside the 3D modeler is currently still positioned to be a coordination tool rather than authoring tool. We have concluded from our study that there should be an intuitive interface that can be just as powerful as a designer doing CAD work. So what's proposed is a focused effort to bring the 3D modeling commands into VR, and this is valid because multiple earlier studies have shown that existing knowledge in tools of an architect will help her significantly in learning and adapting to new tool interfaces when there's parity between the two. It becomes practical when architects already knows what the sequence of operation is. All she has to do is to activate these modeling operations in a VR setting. Our tried and true 3D modeler is command based in the WIMP workflow. WIMP stands for Windows icons, menus, and pointers. So in that workflow, commands are typed on the keyboard. So we utilize the joystick component of many VR handsets to index commands by alphabet. Any subsequent inputs, like a call up window attached to some of the commands, can be docked around the hand, and we can utilize the hand motion pointing at the different options. Without going too much into details, I do want to reiterate the pinch point. Perhaps it's not yet cost effective to have any major players in the software world to invest in comprehensive VR design tools for architects. But there's definitive need and desire for those. The moment that someone puts on the goggles and look at the renderings, she would marvel at how much sense of scale, proportion, and spatial phenomenon are provided. But again, renderings and those products are for reviews and coordinations at best. No design authoring tools yet. Our findings point directly to the UI and the design of UI, so architects can get just as fluent in drafting within VR environment. To close, I would like to challenge my peers and colleagues to investigate further the potentials of developing VR design tools. We will, of course, continue to look at how to truly integrate this technology and reshape the way we design. Please feel free to get in touch. We look forward to the sharing of ideas and the possibility of research collaborations. Thank you.